Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to honor the life of Desert Storm and Battle of Mogadishu veteran John Magness for his service to our country and to mourn his recent passing. Mr. Magness and I graduated from West Point together in 1986, after which he served 9 years in the United States Army. His early aviator years were spent with the 4th Squadron, 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment, where he was charged with conducting border surveillance in his Cobra gunship along 454 miles of the Iron Curtain, after which he spent 4 years with the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, proudly wearing the Night Stalker's name and supporting units like the Navy SEALs and Army Rangers. After time spent as a consultant for the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Magness dedicated his time and talent to developing and enriching our communities through his work with Hillwood Development Company. Where Air Force bases lay vacant and unused, such as Norton Air Force Base, Mr. Magness saw opportunity for flourishing. His efforts led to the commercial and industrial development of the San Bernardino base, now boasting of millions of square feet around the base. 15 years after he started this project, the development had contributed over $2.3 billion for the surrounding community. On May 18, 2010, Colonel John McHugh, another West Point class of '86 grad and dear friend of Mr. Magness, was killed in action in Kabul, Afghanistan by a suicide bomber. As a result of his tragic passing and his legacy, the Johnny Mack Soldiers Fund was created by the West Point class of '86 to help Colonel McHugh's family. The fund's mission quickly expanded to serve as many families as possible, giving back to those who gave their all. The fund honors military service and sacrifice by providing scholarships to veterans and military family members, especially to the children of fallen service members. It has awarded over $30 million in scholarship funds since 2014 and supports 4,500 Johnny Mack scholars attending schools across this country. Having been a close friend of Colonel McHugh and a dedicated supporter of veterans and their families, Mr. Magness dedicated himself to the Johnny Mack Soldiers Fund. To raise money and awareness, Mr. Magness undertook the Aconcagua Challenge expedition, tackling the largest mountain outside of Asia located in Argentina. Undeterred by the 22,837-foot climb and exemplifying the West Point class of '86 motto, "Courage never quits," Mr. Magness summited the mountain after 10 days of climbing, even after 2 of his 3-man team had to cease the climb for medical reasons. Having conquered the mountain and accomplishing his mission, Mr. Magness succumbed to ensuing medical complications and passed away in the early morning hours of February the 5th, 2023. Night Stalkers don't quit, even after leaving the military service for the private sector. He was a fierce supporter of the organization's mission and the personification of former President Teddy Roosevelt's man in the arena, the man stained by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who spends himself in a worthy cause. Mr. Magness died with his boots on, serving his country and its heroes. Mr. Magness is survived by his wife, Angie, and their 2 children, Chelsea Shelburne and John Michael Magness, Jr. He was also a very proud grandfather of his 2-year-old grandson, Rhett. His family, friends, and colleagues all describe him as a man of strong Christian faith, a patriot, a loving father, a grandfather, and a husband, a soldier, a hero, a servant leader, and a friend. Mr. Magness, or Magger, as he was known by his friends, exemplified these characteristics and more, all while serving the community that he loved so well. In both his life and in his death, Mr. Magness modeled service for all those around him. I was blessed to have known him through our shared time at West Point and as a fellow Night Stalker, and I know that he is greatly missed by his family and friends. John was buried at West Point yesterday, March the 27th, 2023, where he rests in peace, having completed his mission on earth. I'd like to finish with the last stanza of the West Point alma mater. And when our work is done, our course on earth is run, may it be said, well done, be thou at peace. Ere may the line of gray increase from day to day. Live, serve, and die, we pray. West Point for thee. Well done, John. Mr. Speaker, I yield.